Hello, everyone. My name is Kadesha Powell, and I'm going to share an encouraging word and some tips to help you testify through your words, a quick guide to jumpstart writing your memoir or your self help book or even your devotional. And with this little short training, I hope that you could pick up some new skills that could help you get started with your writing today. And this is being recorded for the Boss Lady series for Cindy Dennis Ministries. By the end of this training, you'll learn 3 tips to help you start your writing journey for your memoir, your self-help, or devotional. Again, a little bit about me. My name is Kadesha. I go by Book Coach K Powell, and I'm an Amazon #1 bestselling author of Growing Up Joplin. I was a finalist in the 2021 American Book Fest, and I specialize in helping busy women, entrepreneurs, typically been my clients, but I also help typically women write their memoirs, self-helps, or devotionals that will increase their impact and leave a long-lasting legacy. Additionally, my memoir, Growing Up Joplin, is where I chat about my experiences of growing up in Joplin, Missouri, where I was one of a few African Americans raised in a predominantly all white town, and how those trials and triumphs made me and shaped me into the person that I am today. And then because I completed my Growing Up Joplin, I was invited to co-write a romantic suspense. It's kind of rated PG, it's not super spicy, with Erica B. Davis. I've done a lot of things right and definitely done a lot of things wrong. And so I want to share those tips with you for part of my backstory, so that if you know that God's placed in your heart for you to be writing your memoir, your devotional, your story, then I'm hoping that this video helps you along the way. Again, just a few short years ago, super stressed out about writing. I had a very stressful job. I was a high school teacher in the District of Columbia, and I taught there for 13 years. So by the time I would get home, I would just be tapped out and exhausted from just the emotional and physical impact of my day. So as much as I thought about writing, it just did not happen. I struggled to kind of meet some writing goals when I tried to do everything on my own and in my own strength. Nothing, got done. I'd get home. Okay, let me open a computer. I'd open a computer and do everything else but, write and focus on my writing goals. And then, there was a time where I really wanted to give up and be like, I don't think I'm a write, but I always saw stories in my head. I am a storyteller. I always, have a story, have a joke, have anything. And I've always been that, but I've also knew like I should be writing. I should be writing. And I just didn't know how to start. And then, this happened in the height of the pandemic. Well, I won't even say the height of the pandemic. At the very, very start of the pandemic in December of 2020, 2020, I end up meeting a phenomenal group of writers here who all have the same purpose and same focus. And it is led by Naleighna, who's the first person on the left. And she's an Amazon as well as a USA Today and Essence #1 bestselling author. And she had a vision to bring people together and teach them how to write. And then we had that. So I joined her challenge that she issued out, which would write your memoir or your self-help draft in 30 days or less. And so again, at the height of the start of the pandemic, where I'm teaching from home and trying to figure out all the things of how to do that, I then decided to take this journey and write this memoir in 30 days. Now, the beautiful thing, my coach, Karen Bradley, she was assigned to me where I had to check in with her daily, and having a group of people on the same journey was a super blessing. And it helped me finish my book. I don't think I would be here now if it wasn't for these group of talented individuals. So inside of that year, I published 2 books. And again, Growing Up Joplin is my memoir, and Queen of Bahia is a romantic suspense. Growing Up Joplin hit the #1 bestseller Amazon list. And so I was super excited about that. Bestseller in 2-hour biography and memoir short reads. And then in the Asian new release category, Queen of Bahia reached #5. I was able to collaborate on additional publications with the marketing stuff, where this little book is great to help you market, especially if you're a freelance author. And I always tell people the best tip that I have is when I'm at live events to stand in front of my table, because it gives me an opportunity to connect and engage with people in my area. And then with the right stuff, my writing tip is dictating your story is a great way to eliminate writer's block. And I'll get into that in just a little while. I hosted intended book signings, media podcasts where I was a guest, was on the news, several podcasts, and then several articles. The awards and nominations that I received, the American Book Fest for 2021, Growing Up Joplin was a finalist in that category. And then I was also a finalist in the Black Authors Matter TV Awards 2022 nominee. And then this is my favorite part is coaching others how to write their books and bring their visions and story to life. So this year in 2022, I met everyone in both Kristen and Heidi in October of last year and worked with them. And they went to publication in February of this year. Now they had already written their book. So I helped them with the editing, structural things and like that. And so they are both published authors and super excited for the opportunities that are coming their way because they did finish. And both of them are great stories. The From the Heart of the Father and Interactive Devotional is a great devotional because he had letters coming from the father, and then there's a letter you write to the father. So it's very interactive, very, very personal. And then Kristen Lee Dolce, definitely talks about her experience, spiritual rags to riches, where she struggled with mental health and other issues in her life and how she's overcome those things. And so this is again my favorite part of coaching people into their passionate purpose. If they're wanting to write their book, their dream, their self-help, or their devotional, and I kind of stick to those things because that's kind of my specialty and my wheelhouse. And again, this was also kind of all happening in kind of less than 2 years. And then again, just this short amount of time from October to February to get both ladies published. And again, after doing this for years, discovering that writing isn't about having everything perfect in that first draft. And it doesn't need to look like writing. So I don't know, we kind of have in our head, oh, it needs to do this and it needs to look this way. It doesn't. There's no right, wrong path. We just want you to get some words on that page. And again, writing is not only just talking about your book, because I talked mine up for a good 10 years before I wrote my memoir. And I never even thought about the memoir until I saw the challenge. But I knew that I wanted to write, and other books and stories and things were in me. And I just didn't know how to get started. And my favorite thing that I tell to my clients and people all the time, we can't edit what's not on the page. So however you get that on the page, we need you to be able to get that on there so it can be edited to perfection. And here's a couple of things that I discovered the hard way. I discovered that not understanding how to outline, makes things super hard. Definitely not having a writing routine makes it hard, because if you don't have a writing routine where you're consistent in writing, you're not going to be able to make some movement. And then I had no accountability. And I think a lot of people feel that same way when we're left to our own devices. We typically do the things that we shouldn't do. And it's even in the Bible. Okay, I want to do things that I do, and I don't do the things that I don't want to do, so that still applies here. And then an easy way that will help you write your memoir faster. These are some tips. And again, as I talked about the old way of writing without that outline, writing when you're mentally and physically drained, and then additionally, taking years to write your book. The new way would be leveraging specific writing prompts for a stronger outline. And what I do here, especially with my memoir, is I wrote down like 25 key things that happened in my life, and just like, okay, went to college, gave birth, started a new job, went on my first mission trip, and I just did those, and just there. They don't have to be in any specific order. Just kind of get out the top 20 things that you feel that you've been impacted. And then, if you're writing Christian, your memoir based on your Christian journey, you could set those things up. Again, also I use the Pomodoro method to effectively manage my writing time. And what I really like about this method is that I set a clock for 20 minutes and I focus on one task. And then once my timer goes off at that 20 minutes, I take about a 5-minute break, so that's whether I use the bathroom, grab an apple, stretch, and then I come back for another 20 minutes, then a 5-minute break, 20 minutes. And then after an hour, give yourself a 30-minute break. And by doing this helps me, focus and manage my time. And the Pomodoro method doesn't have to do to writing. It can be any project time management thing that you need done. Setting that timer, giving yourself a short break, setting that timer work, and you'll see that you'll work a lot faster and a lot efficient. And then one of my favorite tech tools that I use to speed up the process was, I'm a huge fan of Google Docs, and I go into tools and I turn on the microphone and then I talk the book out. So again, if I'm talking about my first mission trip I will kind of close my eyes and just start talking about everything I recall about that journey. Again, our first draft is not going to be pretty. You're going to edit it several times to get it right, from there. But we talk faster than we write. So I find that in a couple minutes, I can get 5,000 words on a page versus a couple hours of me talking those through. And then again, I was able to complete my first draft super fast. That's how I was able to kind of work through the getting the draft done. By talking out my key points. And devotional is the same way. If you have a theme, let's say your theme was faith, you can find your Bible verses on faith, your journey on faith, and then you've got a devotional. So turn on the microphone and then start talking away. I don't use Word that often because I like to be able to just use docs where I can just fluctuate between computer, phone, or wherever. Word, I do know that they do have a way for dictation. And then if you have to dictate on your way to work, there are apps that you can use. I use an app called Dictation, and I just turn it on, I just start talking, and it dictates my words. So those tech tools are a great way for you to write your draft super fast and just get it on the page. I want to share with you 3 secrets that's going to help you kind of hopefully change up your mind. 1, you don't have to write an order. 2, again, dictate your chapters and use your tech tools. And then 3 is going to be the ultimate shortcut that we'll get to in just a moment. And so going back to secret 1, when you don't have to write an order, once your outline is complete, you can write pretty much what you choose. So if you have 20 things to choose from, you could go to that list. Like I said, I'm gonna go back and say, you know what, the mission trip was a great time. I'm gonna start with the mission trip. I open up my document, the mission trip to Dominican Republic. I've been to Peru, Bolivia, or any of these, or even a combination of them. And then what I find is I kind of just sit there, I kind of close my eyes and I immerse myself back in the memory. But I want to make sure that you cover your 5 W's and your H: who, what, when, where, why, and how. And then part of that how is, how did that impact you? How does that change? How do you want to encourage someone else if they're going through that journey? What I do want to let you know about this part is please do not write any trauma at night. So if you find that you have to go to work and you find that you get home and you want to write something that has affected you in a traumatic way, do not do that at night. You don't want any trauma on your heart and your spirit before you go to sleep. And then also immerse yourself in prayer before you do it. So if you can write something sad or that brings you down, try to do that in the morning, then have life in between. So whether you went to your job, whether you saw a movie, whether you just did some different things where it's not the last thing on your mind before you go to sleep. So again, our group and psychologists, everyone told us, hey, don't do it. Several people didn't listen and kind of set themselves back. Again, use that technology to leverage and speed up your process. A huge fan again of turning on that voice. I could chat because again, I can talk way faster than I could ever type. And remember, we can't edit what's not on the page. So your first draft is just going to be what we kind of call in the industry like a vomit draft. Just get everything out. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be in order. Also, this comes up several times when people are writing about other people. What I typically do is just change the name of the person, change the details, because only those closest to you may know who that is. But if it's a complete stranger, they won't have any idea of who it is. So people are very scared to share their truth. I would really encourage you, share your truth, because it's your journey, it's your truth. And what you've learned from it. We all go through trials and triumphs, and how we deal with it and come out on the other side will say a lot about our growth and our process. So again, if you're writing about other people, don't put like, oh, someone's going to be mad because I wrote about them. Put it in there and then change it up so that no one can really tell that that's them. Again, only the people closest to you will know who you're talking about. And then this secret tip number 3 helped me the absolute best, which was I invested in mentorship and I got support for the results faster. So I talked about my writing tribe earlier. There was a cost, not only was it a cost financially, but there was also like a emotional and physical cost, because at that time, we had just started the lockdown. I was teaching from home. So not only did I have to go and revamp everything, I had to learn new ways to teach online and keep my students engaged. So that would be 10, 12 hours a day, and then another 2 hours on the computer. But I knew I had to do it because my coach made me check in with her every day. I had to submit chapters at the end of every week. And then I had just straight accountability. If I was just having a rough day and I'm just like, I'm over it, I'm not doing it, I'm not finishing, she always had a prayer for me. She always had a encouraging word of support for me. And without her, and again, Karen Bradley, I would not be here. But again, being part of a tribe and being part of an individual group of writers or someone who's gone through the process and your own personal cheerleader helps out so, so much. So, in conclusion, I really say that for more information or if you'd like coaching on writing your memoir, your self help, or your devotional, please visit me at my website, kadeshapowell.com. And you can go in and connect with me, and I get those emails. And like I said, my goal, my purpose is to help there. So, if you know that you've had a story in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit that you need to write, but you just don't know how to get started, please feel free to reach out. Again, I have proven results and I really enjoy working with folks. I bring my teaching that I have from the classroom, in addition to everything I've learned about self publishing and everything, to make sure that your first book or your books are solid and that they will sell. So, thank you so much for your time. And again, Kadesha Powell is my name. KadeshaPowell.com is where you can find me. Thanks and have a great day.